7 Signs You're a Truly Attractive Man. The Story of Men. Part 1. The Silence That Draws Attention. I used to think that to attract women, you had to be witty, funny, and constantly trying to surprise them. Then I met men, a man who never tried to impress anyone, and yet, somehow, always stood out whenever he walked into a room. I first met men on a fall evening in Delat. It was a quiet little cafe nestled beneath the pine trees, mist gently brushing against the windows, and warm golden lights casting a soft glow over steaming cups of tea. Men walked in. Nobody knew who he was, but the moment he pulled out a chair by the window, I noticed at least 3 women glance his way. No one said a word, but there was something about his calm posture, steady gaze, and the way he picked up his glass that made them gravitate toward him. No flashy entrance, no loud greetings, yet men occupied space as if it already belonged to him. And right then, I realized, some men don't need to try to be noticed. They just are. Part 2. Eye contact, the language that can't lie. I wasn't surprised when one of those women, the one in a black leather jacket with jet black eyes, walked past his table for the 3rd time. She didn't say anything, but her eyes lingered just a bit too long, then darted away, then came back again. It was like a silent tug-of-war between logic and instinct. I looked at men. He didn't glance back immediately. Only after the 3rd pass, when her gaze turned from subtle to undeniable, did he lift his head. His look, calm, unhurried, met hers. It wasn't aggressive, but it was deep, as if he could see right through her thoughts. I don't know if they ever spoke after that, but I do know. The way their eyes locked said far more than words could. That moment of eye contact was the first undeniable sign of attraction. More powerful than any pickup line. More honest than any compliment. Part 3. Respect that doesn't need to be requested. The next day, I invited men to a casual gathering of friends, creatives, marketers, startup folks. The type who talk fast, think faster, and love to assert themselves. I was worried men would get drowned out. I was wrong. He barely spoke. But when he did, everyone stopped to listen. Not because what he said was groundbreaking, but because of how he said it. Calmly, deliberately, never rushing, never interrupting. In a room full of noise, his stillness stood out like a grand piano among electronic beats. There was a woman there, who once swore she was only into outgoing funny guys. That night, she was the one who asked for Min's number before leaving. Not because he was flashy, but because, in her words, being near him felt light. Part 4. The Subtle Touch and the Unspoken Test. 3 weeks in, I took Min to a weekend fair, crowded, chaotic, buzzing with conversation. Min was the same as ever, quiet, observant, offering soft smiles. But I noticed something unusual. Women around him seemed to find excuses to touch him. A casual brush of the hand, a tap on the shoulder, a pretend flick of dust off his shirt. One girl, early 20s, maybe, approached him at a ceramics booth. She picked up a white porcelain cup and said, "This one suits you. Do you like white?" There was nothing particularly special about her tone. But then came the accidental touch, her hand grazing the back of his, followed by a bashful, "Oops, sorry." It wasn't clumsy. It was instinctual. Her body was speaking for her heart, saying, "What will he do if I move a little closer?" Min's response? A soft smile, a nod of thanks. No retreat, no chase. Just enough to make her blush and come back again later. Part 5. When men compete without realizing it. In public, I've seen countless men walk into a room and fade into the background within 5 minutes. But men, even other men, noticed him. I saw it one night at a lounge. A group of guys were laughing loudly, exchanging banter. When men walked in, one of them paused, lowering his voice. Another began to speak louder, laugh harder, trying just a little too much. That wasn't insecurity. It was instinct. When a man with presence enters a space, the social hierarchy subtly shifts. Men may not say it aloud, but they feel it. They either adjust or compete. Men said nothing, but everyone reacted. A truly attractive man doesn't just draw women in. He changes how men behave around him too. Part 6. The magnetic calm that pulls people closer. I noticed something strange about men. He never initiated conversations in crowded places. And yet, within 15 minutes, someone always approached him. A woman asking for directions. A guy saying, "Hey, you look familiar." Someone else saying, "You've got a great vibe. Mind if I sit here?" It wasn't luck. It was energy. That magnetic calm people crave in a world full of noise. Min wasn't flashy, but he felt grounded, safe, warm, like a fireplace in winter. People naturally wanted to gather around. This was the sixth sign of true attraction. People simply feel better near you, even if they don't know why. Part 7. When women try to win you over. It happened at a leadership seminar we attended. The keynote speaker, a sharp, successful woman, caught everyone's attention. After her talk, she walked straight over to Min. She started talking about her work, her ideas, her vision, not in a boastful way, but in that subtle tone people use when they're trying to impress someone they respect. She laughed at his jokes, even the mild ones. She leaned in just slightly. She tried to stand out. I stood nearby, watching it unfold, and I realized this was investment. She wasn't just interested. She was already emotionally engaged. And that only happens when a woman sees a man as high value. Final part. Attraction is what you leave behind, not what you wear. I used to think being attractive meant being good-looking, clever, wealthy. But men taught me something deeper. Real attraction comes from within, from knowing who you are, from not needing permission to exist, from never chasing attention, because your presence already commands it. Since meeting men, I've stopped trying to be loud in every room. I've learned to hold eye contact without fear, to let silence speak for me, to be deeply rooted in myself. Because in the end, the most attractive man in the room is never the one who makes the most noise. He's the one you can't stop thinking about, long after he's gone.